Hello guys, today we'll be doing a React HTML CSS Frontend Mentor test where we'll be doing a little bit of coding. We also have a guest today. This is Francesco, and he's going to be helping us out by telling us which designs look good and bad and how to do good coding in general. He's got a bit of experience with that, but he'll be also answering some of the questions in the live chat, I'm sure, as well. So hello. Let's put the speaker on here for you so that you can hear. And yeah, go for it. Say hello. Oh, I'll send you the link here as well so that you can see what's going on. Here you go, and let me send that to you just over here. There you go. So we are live there. I think the live chat will start showing up in a second. Yes, you should be able to see this on YouTube any second now. Let me pop this chat out over here so we can see it. And we've got a few people already. Now, I'm not sure if the stream is lagging at all. If you let me know, that'll be greatly appreciated. And I'm also going to copy over this window so that you guys can hear. Beautiful. All right. Hopefully everyone can see this.
First time ever in a live. Hi everyone. I'm very nervous. Yeah, let's see the chat. I can read the chat for you, Adrian. This is what I can do for you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
Yes,
People in the chat are saying that it is a little bit let me have a look what's going on there. It should be okay, but I think let me have a look here if I can.
Maybe they can hear me.
Yeah. I'll have to redo this on 1080p. Laggy a bit on here. This is why streaming is very hard. Let's see what it says here. Analytics, stream health.
If there is anything I can do.
All right, so here both me and you, but the stream health right now is a little bit slow.
It's a bit slow. If I can do anything about that.
No, I think it's me. Oh, maybe. Yeah, maybe there's just too much going on. I might turn off this camera here, because that might be using up too much of the performance there, and that might boost it up. Yeah, I think that's much better now, guys. Let me know in the chat there if the stream health is a little bit better now, guys. Otherwise, we can maybe have a look at what we're going to be doing today. So I've got the Frontend Mentor test, and here we're going to be doing this profile card component. We're going to just do some HTML, some CSS, and some JavaScript to be able to create this. And during the chat, feel free to ask questions if you've got suggest them in as well. And it's just to show a bit of live coding, really. Hey, Danny, how you going there? I see that we already have great people here in the chat, which is great. Okay. Now, I believe, let's see if the chat says that we have a better stream going on now. Yes, it's much better now. That's great. We also have some questions here. Adrian, is it beneficial to use React frameworks? If yes, is Material UI an option? In a sense, yeah, of course. It's always a benefit if you're saving time and you're using a framework essentially to do something like that. Like if you want a custom UI, it's always good to be able to do that yourself, but if you want to go for speed, then a framework definitely helps. What are your thoughts?
Hear you.
Oh, can you hear me?
Okay. Oh yes.
Let's see. Can you hear me in the Discord? Let's have a look here. Should be able to. Hey Adrian, can you do more React websites making tutorials? Yes, that's exactly what we'll be doing today. So I'm going to select to download this challenge, but if you want to go on the Frontend Mentor group, it's just frontendmentor.io, and they've got some great challenges here where you can practice building out some cool looking pages. So that's sort of what I wanted to do today. So let's jump into this one and authenticate with GitHub and have a look at it. Alright, so we've authenticated there. I'm just going to download this challenge. And here we have the zip for it. So let's open that up. And I'll create a new folder for that. We'll open it up in VS Code. Let's see over here. Let's drag this in. I think we have VS Code just over here. I'm just going to browse into that. So let's open folder. And then we want to go GitHub. And then I've got a few projects here. And which one was this one called? Profile card. There we go.
So you are doing a challenge of this?
Yes, I am. I've got a question here from Marcos, and he asks, what is the most difficult part of CSS for you? Do you have an answer for that?
No, for me, for example, maybe query, maybe. It's the
Uh-huh.
first part. Of course, centering a div.
Centering a div? Oh, yes.
These are the two most difficult parts.
For me, if I'm doing absolute positions and I've got relatives positions and I've got so many of them nested, sometimes that gets a little bit confusing for me. All right, let's have a look here. So we've got this design over here, and this is the one we'll be doing. So here's the design. When we open her up, we'll, I believe, get a picture and a README of what it looks like. So here we've got the desktop version. We've got another desktop preview here, and we also have a mobile preview. So we'll be building this out. Danny says, also in 4 hours, I'm going to be on a panel with Quincy, Codeface, Tren, Chris, and much more. So got Danny's channel. That'll be a really cool panel to look at.
Yeah, check that.
All right, let's see. And can you guys hear Francesco on the stream?
What?
Can everyone hear you there? I think. Can you just say hello, introduce yourself a little bit there?
I'm Francesco. I'm from Italy, from Rome. I work for the European Space Agency. Currently, I've started recently a YouTube channel when I put some interviews with awesome people, like for example Adrian, which has been the first one. And also, yeah, I like Docker, DevOps stuff. I'm a full stack developer, but I'm not really into React. I've just used that for some projects, but never in production. Yeah, so that's it. You can ask me anything because I code here, so I think I ask questions. So
no, that's
yeah.
great.
Yeah. And this is my very first live of my life. So
very first live stream. I really pushed you into this one, I feel like.
Yeah. Of course, now that I've done this live with Adrian, Art making lives.
Now every single interview will now be live, will it? Let's have a look here. I was going to ask you, do you have a VS Code live share?
I don't know.
Because if I do, I might be able to share out this project to you. So I might give that a try. So I'm going to grab this one over here. Let's see what people are saying. Adrian, which one is better, React or Vue? Is it Vue or Vue? Let's copy this over here. Give that a shot. I've just sent you the link there to VS Share, so you might be able to see this at the same time as me.
Is that an extension, like Share?
Yes, it is. It's one where we can both work on the same editor at the same time. So give that a shot. And while that's loading in the background, just let me know if it comes in. And let's take a look at this tutorial. So I'm just going to do a quick go live here. This will create the server for us, which is just over here. And I might put that, where can I put this window? I could put it over the live chat, but then I won't see the live chat. I'll just move the live chat over here for the time being. There we go. Beautiful. Now, looks like we've already got some text here, and we'll go through the README for this challenge. So in this challenge, we're doing, let's see, your challenge is to build out this portfolio and get it looking as close to the design as possible. So that's what we'll be doing. Here's the design I'll put over here so you guys can see that. You can use any tools to help you complete this challenge. So you've got to do this as practice, but feel free to give it a shot. We've got some files here, so we've got a couple of instructions to get it up. As we do, we can also put it up here on GitHub. But really, we have to follow the style guide here we have on styleguide.md. So let's grab that in. Let's also see what the live chat is saying. What do you for app development? React Native or Flutter? So this is something I answered in the previous one, which I do like React Native. I probably use that every day for the last few months. I've got a pretty good system working there because I sort of optimized it to how I normally code. I've tested out Flutter. I've enjoyed it, but I find that I prefer React Native. Let's see here. So we're making this card just over here on the right. So let's open up this style guide and open up our index.html. We don't have any HTML in here whatsoever right now. So let's start off with creating a main div. And in here, we'll create our article. Maybe this will just be a div. And for this div, I might card. And we'll put a couple of things here. We might give it a bit header. And then we might put the avatar in that header, or it's a good question. I think we can put it here in the header. So avatar. Then we'll also want the title here. We'll do a h2 block called Victor. I think we can just copy over the text here. We also have his age, so I might put that as a small tag here, or maybe a I'll just do that as .age, and we'll put that in here nested in the h2 block. Then we'll have London. This is a bit of a label, but I'll just put in label as a tag here. Ah, look at that. We do have quite a few people here today. Let's have a look at the stats quickly.
How can you see this here?
Let's have a look. So we've got currently 62 people viewing this live, which is quite a bit.
I have 87.
All right. In here, I'm gonna put in some of these other things. So we've got London being the location. A bit of a line here with a footer, and in this footer, we have 3 columns. So I might just do column in here like this.
They look like the same.
And there we go.
Text.
I've got a question here saying, Adrian, are you interested in Deno? Do you think that it will be the future? That's a good question. I've used Deno. I've done a few tutorials on there. And I think that Deno is one of those things that if you're really considering, so you're working in the police or in the bank, it'll have a lot of use cases there because Node.js sometimes just doesn't have the security some of these other things do. So it's got some use cases. But of course, for regular development, it might not be as useful as using regular Node. Adrian, how does your VS Code cursor go smoothly when you're typing? What does that mean? I always get asked this. I'm just typing normally, so I just want to know when people say it goes smoothly, how does it normally go? Compared with other people? Is there a smoothness to it? Or is it just like regular? I don't know if you can see that at all, but yeah, that's a good question. All right, next question here. What about TypeScript in React? Will it replace JS? Like Deno, TypeScript has its use cases. So if you are building out a huge application, something like maybe 2 million lines of code, or with 20 or 30 people on the team, then it can be very useful to have TypeScript. But if you're building out something in a single day just for a single use case, probably not as much. Of course, it is good to learn it and use it every day because you will improve your coding skills by doing so. It's very smooth. Yeah, I'm not sure if that's like a feature here. Let's have a look here.
In Deno, you have the default support for TypeScript, which is good.
All right, I do have this for my cursor, which is fake. And then I do have cursor smooth animation. Maybe one of these two is the thing that causes my cursor to feel smoother. I'm not too sure. Let me know by testing it out. I've got a question here for you. Maybe you can answer this one. React or Angular is better for the future?
I think that both are good. I've used Angular, for example, more than React. In my case, of course, it depends. In my opinion, to understand the basic concepts of JavaScript, then you can learn both. If someone would ask me with which one I could start with, I'll suggest React today. But this could change.
Yeah.
The idea is to understand one framework well, do something with that, and then you can move to another one if, for example, it's needed at your job.
Yeah, exactly. Now that's a good point. Oh, great. So apparently the setting here for cursor smooth animation makes the cursor look a lot better when I'm coding. So I didn't even know this. I read the VS Code updates every time they come out each month, and I must have seen that at some point. I think this has been around for at least half a year. And yeah, I usually go through and enable all the new all the time.
Read the yo question, Adrian.
Yeah. So this is one really, really big monitor. I'm not sure if I can show you guys how big it is, but it's big. You're only seeing about half of it there. All right, let's actually do this coding challenge before we. So we've got a couple more things here we need to put in. So we've got these guys over here. So we've got this as maybe a H3 element.
Yeah.
And this as a small element. We can copy this across and replace each one of the columns because they're reusing the same styling.
Yeah, it's the same style.
Yeah. And then I think that should be it for the main card there. And we can start doing some actual styling in CSS. So this is the fun part. All right, so let's save that and see what we get. So right now we do have a bit of a blank page there. There's not really anything there. I'm gonna make you and me a little bit smaller there. Hope you don't mind.
I had we had 110 people watching. I hope the stream didn't crash off. Okay, maybe we are again.
Okay, I think we're back.
Okay.
I think we're back. All right, sorry about that, guys. We just had a bit of a hiccup there.
Blame me for everything, of course.
Exactly. Let's jump back into it. So we're going to be doing some CSS now. And for our CSS, we want to do maybe starting off with a style guide here. And we want to do a, let's see, the font text has to be 18 pixels. So that's the very first thing we'll do. We'll do a body tag here. We'll do font size 18 pixels and hit save on that. So everything will get a little bit bigger. Then we need to do some background color. So we've got a few colors here. Let's see what they actually are. So the first thing we're going to do is do a background color here and see what color that is. So that does look like our main background there. We've got some SVGs going on in the background, but we can add those in a little bit later. Here we are. Great. And let's see what the live chat is also saying. It did crash, but it's back up. Great. Hi, I'd like to join the stream someday. Yeah, I think I'll maybe do more guest speakers on the stream. I think it'll make it a little bit more interesting, simply because sometimes when you're just doing a stream by yourself, it can get a little bit boring. So it's just so that there's a bit more interaction and someone can also chat to me.
It's a great idea. Yeah, it's a great idea. Yeah.
Okay, let's see where we're at. So we've got this background color happening here. And we want to create this box where we've got all our actual content. So right now this is a main. So I'm just going to pass in main here. I might do a max width here. And if we zoom in, it feels like it's about 360 pixels. And background white. And margin will be auto. So let's have a look at what we get when we do that. So this is a little bit zoomed in. I'll unzoom that, and that is about the same size. Now the next thing I want to do here is give it a bit of a border radius. Let's do 30 pixels, and that's about right. Maybe a little bit less, 15 pixels. Things there, Landon. Hopefully this helps some people when they're coding some stuff out. And I was actually going to do this in React, so maybe we move this across to React. So let's actually open this up to npx create React app, and let's call this profile card. I completely forgot about that. Sorry, guys. So this is the quickest way to build a React application. Just create React app. Of course, you can use boilerplates and stuff like that, but this one makes it much easier. Is this what you use as well? So this will just load up in the background somewhere. What's going on in the live chat? Hi there from Chile. Any video on testing in React? That's a good topic. I haven't actually done any proper videos on testing in React, so that's probably something that would be quite useful. Hey there, how you going?
Hi Nirvana.
Yeah. Hi Adrian, are you going to be doing CSS because of teaching purposes? If not, wouldn't it be better to use Sass? People would learn it too. So that's a good point there. Sass is useful, but every single time I've been using Sass for my videos, for some reason I keep getting these comments going, why are you using Sass? I just want to learn some basic HTML, CSS, JavaScript. So for basic beginners, sometimes it's useful just to start off with only CSS and then move from there.
I agree on that.
Alright, so React is still taking a little bit there to load up.
Hello Joshua.
Wow, we've got people here from Brazil and the Philippines and quite a few, and from India as well. And yes, the 49-inch monitor looks bigger every single time I put a closer perspective on it. I always cut it off so that people don't realize just how big it is, but it goes all the way around. More people here from Texas and India and Indonesia, so hello everyone. Wow. Even from Iraq as well, and Uganda, and Nigeria,
wow.
and Bangladesh.
Nigeria, Bangladesh.
Guys, if you haven't already, Francesco, if you can put in your channel in the live chat, I'd love for people to check that out. He does lots of great interviews for different people in the community, YouTubers, and yeah, exactly. So put that in there and check his channel out.
So
he's just hit 1K as well.
Yeah, let me do this shameless plug.
Beautiful. So our profile card here is ready. I'm gonna open this up in VS Code. Here we are.
I put the right link like this.
And let's load this up by running in yarn start, I think.
Hungary.
Hello from Hungary, and thank you for the 50K. I'm pretty happy at that. I did work pretty hard to get that, but it's been a long journey and it's been great. Okay, so this is this loading React? Yes, here we go. So we're up and running here with React, just so that you guys can see what's going on. I've just done yarn start, and that's loaded it in here. And we'll do the rest now in React. Any upcoming React crash courses or full courses? So this is a pretty good question. I've noticed that there are quite a lot of React courses out there already. Personally, I think that just because of that fact alone, I want to focus a little bit more on design. So usually you'll see that most of my content is catered to design for developers, because I think that there's always a lot of room for growth there. And that's sort of the course I'm currently working on, which is Enhance UI. So let's jump in here. So we've got our index.html and we've got our app.js. So let's get rid of all of this here in app.js. And that should hot reload. I think it's compiling. It's a little bit slower than usual, but that's okay. And let's migrate our code here that we had from our profile card over. So what I might do is I might open this up manually. We had previously our HTML in here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy over most of these tags, but we're going to have to redo them a little bit because React doesn't do classes as a name for a prop. You need class name in there. So I'm just going to go through, Control D, and update that. And we should see the content pop in there, hopefully just like that. Oh, my screen isn't visible. Thank you. Sorry about that. Let me just undo that so you guys can see what I did. So I got rid of all the HTML that we had here for React. Then I pasted in the code that we had previously in the card. And then this class name here, I got rid of that and renamed it all for class name as a prop, because class doesn't work as a prop in React properly. We've got another question here in the chat. What's that? How to deal with imposter syndrome when applying for a senior dev position. I feel like I never know enough. So that's a pretty good question, simply because I know that pretty much everyone has imposter syndrome. The person sitting across from the interview has imposter syndrome and probably also doesn't want you to figure out that they might not know everything too. So I think having that mindset and going in, just knowing that you will be learning on the job and you won't know everything, no one does, is a good way to be able to sort of help handle that. That's what I do anyway.
I agree with that. Yeah. Now also, I also have made a lot of interviews, but I'm not really an expert in making them. So yeah.
Yeah, no, that's great. All right, so what's going on here? Our React application looks empty. Let's hit save on that, and here's all our code. We have some CSS here, so I'm gonna get rid of most of that here. And we've got this one over here, so I'm gonna get rid of that. here where we previously had some CSS that we started working on. I'm going to cut that and I'm going to put that in here. So let's see what we get. So we're pretty much where we were before, and that's how quick it is to move some HTML over to React. But the good thing now is we've got some hot reloading, which will make life a lot easier. So let's see what we have here. Hi, Adrian, can you discuss SEO for React? I can discuss it in a single sentence. It's not very good. That's why you need to check out things like, because alone using Create React App, it just won't complete the job very well. What do you think? Okay, let's try to do some more here. So we're going to do a box shadow, RGBA. We'll do a black color and maybe 0.5 opacity. And let's give this, I think 15 pixels of blur. I think that's about it there. So that's Y, X, and blur. Hi Adrian, could you speak on middleware for React and the kind that is required for employment? So when you mean middleware, do you mean like higher order components, or do you mean certain functionality with hooks? It's a broad question, so if you can tell me a little bit more about that, let me. So we've got the box shadow happening here. Now this box shadow in our actual design here, if we have a look, it's actually a lot bigger. So what I'm thinking here is that we might have to, first of all, reduce the opacity, but maybe make it 45 pixels. So let's have a look. I think that's a little bit better. We also have a bit of an offset on the y-axis, so I'm going to do about 15 pixels. The wrong axis, let me just put that in here. There we go. So I think that's much better. It still is a little bit too much, so I might even reduce this to 1.5 for the opacity. So there, that's more or less the same as we have here in the card. So that's a good starting point. Adrian's IP got leaked. It did? I don't know. Hi Adrian, could you speak on middleware for React, the kind that is required for, alright, yep. What else do we have here? Oops. Sorry, guys, just a sec.
I have if I'm currently streaming from my YouTube channel, because I made like a test thing.
Yes.
I don't know if it's working, because I have people telling me that maybe I'm live there. I don't know if I'm streaming same thing. I don't know.
All right, so let's build out this. Yeah, go on.
I don't know, but I can't see that. Maybe it's because I've joined your YouTube live. I don't know. It's just the thumbnail.
Let's grab these images and put them in here. So let's see what we have. We've got a couple of patterns here. So what I'm going to do is for the header here, we're going to put some CSS in here. And, whoops, that's the wrong CSS file. Let's put it in here. And let's do background red, just to see what we start off with. And let's do height maybe 200 pixels. And, oh, wrong server. There we go. This one here. So we've got that in there. 200 pixels, my 150. And we'll zoom that out a little bit. We'll also do a margin pixel so that that can be nice and centered. So the first thing we've noticed here is that it's losing its border radius on the top left and the top right. So I'm going to do overflow hidden, and that'll make that border radius come back. Let's have a look here. Road map for front-end development and getting a junior job. I'm not sure what the context is there. Videos like this make you a professional developer. Exactly. Let's have a look here. Anyway, let's continue designing here. So we want this header. We want the design to be this pattern. So I think we've got this pattern here for the card. It's an SVG. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do background image URL path and see what we get. That might not be the right one. It might be this one here. So let's put that in. All right, great, there it is. And I think we might also have to do background size cover, because we do have this white line happening at the very right there. It's sort of not repeating very well, and that sort of pushes it in just perfectly. And let's see what we have next here. So I've got the avatar that we want to put in next. Now there's a few different ways we can do this. Right now I've got this avatar div in here. So I'm going to use that. So that's inside the header. I'll do header, avatar. We'll do a width of say 64 pixels, height of 64 pixels, a background of red, and display line block. And let's see where that shows up. Can you please tell me about how to make an input field back empty after submitting? So if you're using React, then make sure that you reset the state to empty when you've submitted the form, and that should do it. All right, let's have a look at what's next. So we've got this avatar. It's popped here at the very top. So what we could do is we could do a position of relative for our header here. And for our avatar, we could do a position of absolute. We could start it from the bottom, maybe negative 36 pixels, and from the left at about 50%. So let's see where it pops up when we do that. Sorry, from the bottom, not from the top there. So let's try that again. So there it is, but it's not perfectly centered. So I'm going to do transform, translate. I think this will be on the x-axis at about negative 50%, and that should center it. There we go. So now it's perfectly centered with these two commands. Hopefully you guys saw that. I did just center a div.
Now I see it centered, yeah.
Hi Adrian, sorry to replace the ecosystem with middleware. I meant what do you need to know in a React ecosystem for employment? So in terms of employment, if you're looking to do React, I think just knowing how to utilize it, how to do a bit of Webpack, how to essentially actually do functions in JavaScript is probably enough for most people to get started. Usually there's great documentation on whatever you're doing, and even after you join a company, they'll have lots of internal documentation to get you started. So it depends on the type of job you're after, but I think that just knowing the foundations is usually mostly enough. All right, so we've got our square in here, but we want that to be an avatar. So I'm going to do a background image here, a URL, and we're going to pass in image-Victor. And hit save on that to see what we get. So he should pop in just here. We'll also do background size to be cover. And let's have a look at the design here. So he probably needs to be a little bit bigger. So I might increase this to say 100 pixels and the offset from the bottom to be 50 pixels. Should make it a little bit bigger. And finally, we'll do a border radius of 50%, and that'll turn it into a circle. Beautiful. Let's see what else we have here. Can you make a tutorial on the Redux toolkit? Possibly in the future. Can we have more web development advanced projects, please? So I do have some longer version tutorials, things that might be 10 to 20 hours. You can check out my channel for that. There's a lot of WordPress stuff, which I'm sure not many people might want to watch, but it is longer form tutorials, and I am going to be doing a bit more now. I'm thinking of essentially doing streams where we build out small and large projects. You don't really need... Sorry, what's that?
Okay. Yep.
What did you say, sorry?
There was Alex, which says that you couldn't hear me. Maybe the volume was a bit low.
Yeah, your volume's a little bit low there. You could probably increase it a bit. Yeah, give it a test. Increase it a little bit and let me know.
Yeah.
I'll see if I can also increase you in OBS.
Maybe you need to increase in OBS.
Yeah, you can do that as well in OBS. You can increase it a little bit. So give that a shot. Yes, if you're using React and you need to make it SEO friendly, you will need to learn something like Next.js to do so, because using Create React App is usually not enough. The search engines that browse the web, they look for a lot of HTML, and if you have a website which is just one JS file, it's just not going to do the same in terms of SEO performance. What's the difference between position relative and position absolute for beginner? So position relative doesn't really do anything. It just makes a position exist as a relative position to whatever is a child. So any child divs inside there, any classes that are applied with an absolute position will then take priority of the relative position's parent. So for example, the relative position of a house might be, 40 by 40 meters. And the absolute position of a chair is inside that house, maybe the top of the top left or the bottom right of that house. So that's sort of how relative and absolute positions work. Why not use EM instead of pixels? So for this particular project, they were asking to use pixels here. I do like using EM because if you add padding or sizing, it does resize automatically. So it depends on what you're building. Alright, so we've got this avatar here. I'm going to give it a border of 5 pixels solid white. And this should give it that same border that we're having in here, as we see. So that looks good. The only problem now is it's a little bit off center. So I'm just going to add essentially 5 pixels there to the bottom, and that'll make it centered again. So that looks okay. The only other thing now that we need to do is that here in our body, we might actually create a main section for this, or some sort of a section, because we've got a footer section, but we don't have a main section for this. So for this, I just call it main for the time. Oh, what should I call it? Maybe body. Body might not be a good class for this. Content. Let's do content for that. So we'll nest this in here. And for our content class, what we're going to do is maybe give it a text align off center and a padding top of about 100 pixels, and give that a test. And make sure we spell that correctly. Beautiful. We're missing pixels here. And have I labeled this properly? Content. Okay, it should work. Maybe it's not enough pixels of padding. Let's inspect and see what's going on here. So this doesn't seem to be pulling in our CSS. Not too sure why. Which course is better for web development. There's a lot of courses out there. I always recommend Free Code Camp simply because that is a place that's free to get you started, and it tells you all the fundamentals that you need for HTML and CSS and JavaScript. How do you make the container extend height automatically based on how much content is in there? Right now I'm not doing anything special. Just have the content in there and it's expanded out. So if we remove some of the content, I'm sure it will get smaller. Let's remove this footer and give it a quick test. So hit save on that. And oh, there we go. Okay, so we do have too much padding here at the top. I'm going to remove that and give that another test. And then let's do padding top 1 pixel. Now let's do 50 pixels. All right, that looks much better. Let's take a look at our design. So the font here does seem to be a lot smaller. And this is for our H2 element, I think it is. So let's do a H2 element font size. I think this is like 0.85 EM, which will make it a little bit smaller. And then we also have a tag in here, and this tag is age. So let's do H2 age. And for this tag, I'm going to do a font size of 0.66 EM. And I think we have a slight opacity happening there as well. So I'm going to do opacity 0.5 and give that a chance. Adrian, can you teach us PHP? Because we do not have modern resources to learn PHP. PHP, it's one of those that I would recommend learning by doing. So figure out a project you want to do for yourself, like a to-do list or something like that, and just start trying to implement that. Of course, you can do a course, but sometimes the courses, like you said, there's not that many out there. Again, I'm sure Free Code Camp has a course on that, so I would check that out. The font I'm using here in VS Code, let's have a look at that. Font. I'm using Hack as the font for my VS Code. Private tutoring won't help much. You have to learn it by yourself. It's one of the biggest skills as a developer. So yes, if you do want to learn to become a developer, you sort of have to learn to learn. That's one of the best toolkits.
Yeah, this was your answer on my question.
Yes, that's correct. you see that, did you? Which one won that vote in the end? I didn't get to have a look. Because I saw a lot of comments on there. What were some of the comments?
Can't hear you.
Can you talk for me?
Simon is here. We'll have here.
You should definitely be coming through.
Adrian has a lot of boxes behind him.
Yes.
There are only boxes. I see some Zelda stuff there.
Yes. Zelda and Dragon Ball Z and Naruto and lots of other stuff. So
yeah, don't call them boxes. Okay. Hi, Tai. Maybe it's a little bit small, maybe the font.
Yeah. Well, this is the actual size. So, and I think they're using a different font, so probably have to have a look at what that font actually is. Let's have a look here.
Hello, Nako from Japan. Brazil, then to the code, Pram, hey Adrian, Francesco's on the bed, and now back to the station.
Here it is. It's this font here. So let's see if we can pull that font in.
That like button, come on.
I'm gonna add this here to our index. Just link the font in there. And then I'm gonna copy over this text here and put this here in our body at the very top for the font family. And that looks much better. Great. So now with that font done, we could probably adjust the sizing just a tiny bit. So that H2 actually does look like it's almost the right, no, that's the wrong size. Let's do 1 EM for that H2 tag. And that's just about perfect. And then we've got the London at the bottom, which if we jump in here and have a look, this is a label. So I'm going to grab this class here to opacity to be 0.5, the font size to be 0.85 EM. And for the EM here from the bottom, I might do 0.25. So that looks a little bit better. The opacity might need to be increased just a tad. And the margin from the bottom might actually be 0. So let's give that a shot. Are you going to make this a mobile friendly project too? I'd love to be able to do that, but I think we're going to run out of time by the time I actually finish this off. But we'll see what we can do. So finally we have this footer over here. So I'm going to put that footer in here. We'll do this as a display of flex. We'll do a margin, sorry, we'll do a border top of 1 pixel solid RGBA. And we'll do a black color, but with 0.1 opacity, and that should give us that line there at the top. We'll also give it a margin from the top of, say, 50 pixels. And we're almost there. I think 50 pixels might be a little bit too much, so I'm going to reduce that to 25. Haha, time doesn't run out. Well, it's nearly midnight here, so for me it does. Then we've got
time, not the challenge time, yeah.
Exactly.
The join, hi Samuel. Yeah.
Let's do the column here, footer. Oh, we'll just do col. To make them even, we'll do flex 1. That should pop across just perfectly. We'll also make them a display of flex with justify content of center, and align items of center, and a flex direction of column. And I think that should just center them nicely, which it has. Let's do a check here on these H3 elements. So for that, I want a margin bottom of 0, just so that they've got a little bit less space. Maybe 0.1 EM. And finally, we've got our small tags here. So I'm going to do small, font size 0.85 EM, opacity. We'll do 0.85 and give that a shot. It's a little bit smaller for the font size there, maybe 6.6 EM. Adrian, thank you so much for answering my question. Love your channel so much. Thank you. Emirate? Hopefully I got that right. Let's do 0.5 EM here. And we'll also do opacity a little bit less, maybe 7.5. I think that's going to get too small, but... is that loading in? Yeah. Still feels like it's too big. Not sure what's... I'm doing this wrong. Let's do this as 0.5 and this as 0.75. That should fix it up. There we go. That's much better. Okay, and finally for these columns, we're just going to give them default padding from the top and the bottom. So maybe something like 20 pixels, top and bottom. Wait, so you got 50 subs in 10 months. I'll tell you something more impressive. In 6 months, I got about 10,000 subscribers, and in 2 months, I got about 40,000. Not sure how that works, but apparently it does. Let's remove the margin top here for the H3 element, and that should center it nicely. And we're almost there. It just needs a little bit more padding here, so I'm going to bump these up to 30 and 30. And I think that's more or less that done. So let's have a look at these two. We can make sure that we've done a good job for them. Let's move this across. What do you guys think? Is that all right? Happy with that one?
It's a bit taller.
For the header or the avatar?
The whole thing. No, maybe no, it looks fine.
Let's check the height here.
It's great.
See, it's about exactly the same height, exactly the same width. That was just all by eye, so I didn't really look too much at the instructions, just sort of on the fly, really. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed that. Yeah, I know. It's one of the things, when you do enough practice, you usually can get it just about perfect. Of course, nothing ever is perfect. If you try for perfection, you're going to end up spending like 5 hours on it. Whereas if you get it to about 98%, 95%, you can do it in half an hour to an hour. And that's usually what you need to do, because when you're working, then obviously no one has a budget of like unlimited hours. The background image. Yeah, we do have a bit of an SVG happening here at the top and the top left and the bottom right. And that would probably be something like either a background image, or maybe doing a position absolute top left and bottom right for that. But in this one, I've unfortunately run out of time, so we might have to have a look at that one in another episode.
Congratulations, Adrian.
Yeah, thank you very much for joining me today. That was really appreciated. Sorry we didn't really figure out how to do this properly, but I'm sure we will in future streams.
Yeah,
so
I need to do setup something, but thank you. This is my very first experience as a live stream. Yeah.
No, it's been fun.
Yeah, there were many people. Thank you all for coming. Yeah.
Now, guys, if you have any questions, throw them in the chat now.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'll be popping out in about 5 or 10 minutes. Have you ever hired someone from a live stream? Not yet. We'll see. Let's have a look here. Man, hope you get projects with you. Yeah. Adrian, could you make a video on CSS units, because they are confusing? So things like pixels and EM and REM. Yeah, I think that'd be a good video to do. So definitely.
Not now. Maybe
not right now.
It's almost midnight though.
Oh, yeah. Any final words there from you as well?
For me, I really enjoyed this. Thanks for inviting me, even if I did almost nothing. Yeah, so thank you so much. You have really great, solid design skills. I'm looking forward for your NSA UI. Yeah, so.
All right. Thank you. Guys, don't forget to hit like and subscribe and check out his channel as well. I'll actually link that in the description and the chat right now, so you guys can check that out. So let's have a look at that is.
Streams was very nice. Good job, both of you. Just him, but okay. Yes, animations.
Here's your channel. I'll put that now into the chat.
I've tried to put my link, but it was not clickable. I don't know why.
I'll just put that in here. Check out our special guest.
Maybe just you can put the clickable links, huh?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Beautiful. So I've put that in there. Okay. Thank you, everyone. I'll definitely see you in the next one. I'll see if I can do more live streams if you guys enjoy it. Definitely enjoy hanging out. It's been fun. Thanks, guys.